Hey all! We're back with another episode of Car Topics Explained. Today, we're covering Dom's 1993 Mazda RX-7 from the first Fast and the Furious film. You guys have been requesting this car like crazy, so let's just jump into it. The hero car was originally built and owned by Keith Emoto. It started out as gray, but was repainted red, and also had a roll cage. But the roll cage was removed so that Vin Diesel could actually fit in the car. Please keep in mind all of the mods I'm about to tell you are what the car had in real life. These mods are different from what is implied in the film and are not capable of doing things such as producing the engine or exhaust note we hear in the film. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. The engine was a ported 13B with 3mm apex seals. The notes say it was twin-turbo, not sure what kind of tune it was running or if the turbos were aftermarket or not. It had a Blitz BOV, polished intake manifold, Blitz stainless steel power air intake, custom inlet pipes, a Cosmo 20B fuel pump, MagnaCore plug wires, an MSD 6AL ignition box, Knights Sports radiator, Racing Beat resonator. It had a Blitz front mount intercooler kit, an Apexi Power FC with FC Commander. It also had a Mazda Trix front pipe and a Blitz nurse spec exhaust. That's a fair amount of modifications, right? And yet, the engine or exhaust note we hear in the film when the car is on screen cannot be achieved with these mods. That is because this is one of the many cars in the films that the film team decided to use 2JZ sounds instead of audio that matches the engine of the car in reality. It's also said that animal sounds are mixed into some of the more heavily edited car sounds, and it is rumored that this one might have had lion sounds mixed into it, such as roaring or growling. Pause right there. I know this movie is cheesier than a wedge of Parmesan, but can I just nerd out over this shot right here? The movie does such a good job of letting us know Dom is the king of this fictional street scene, with exposition and all that, but the sound of his car confirms it to the audience as well. Everything from the sound of his car, the way the camera almost relaxes as it focuses on him, and how calm and casual he is as he beats everybody.
Damn, that guy's fast.
By the way, did I mention how awesome this sounds? The RX-7 has never been a particular dream car of mine, but building a 2J swapped RX-7 that sounds even a little bit like this is probably the best way to bring me to the closest I will ever get to feeling like Vin Diesel. Any closer and I'll have to find a way to rob DVD players from semis with Honda Civics that take a millennium to get from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Huh? A tangent? Well, I think it's relevant. Well, what do you know? The car had an iconic Veilside C2 body kit, a carbon fiber Veilside rear wing, and an Ari Amamiya, I think, sleek-like kit. The wheels were the presently discontinued 18-inch Veilside Andrew Racing Fs, which were made by SSR. The tires were Toyo T1 Proxies, and the brakes were power-stop cross-drilled rotors with Goodrich stainless lines. The car also had an Apex T-Max suspension setup. On the inside, you've got the iconic Sneaky Pete nitrous system, which isn't real, but a very neat concept. I believe at one point in time a screen-used Sneaky Pete seat was for sale for nearly $10,000. Beyond that, you've got more ordinary stuff like a Veilside combat steering wheel and shift knob, a Recaro SPG seat on the driver's side, Sparco harnesses, a short throw shifter. It had an Apex AVCR boost controller, tachometer and shift light. You've got some Apex oil temperature and exhaust temperature gauges. It also had a Greddy turbo timer. Actually, is it pronounced Greddy or G-Ready? Or something else? Help. The gauge covers were white, it had an Apexy boost gauge, oil pressure gauge, and volt gauge. It also had a Dashmasters carbon fiber dashboard overlay. Apparently, the impressive sound system we see in the film is actually from a different RX-7 and isn't in the hero car. The reason why the car doesn't have this sound system or any other kind of crazy sound system is because, well, the owner claims that he didn't want to add any unnecessary weight to the car. Which is all well and good, but as far as I can tell, there isn't any definitive info stating horsepower figures or telemetry data, such as a 0 to 60 or even quarter-mile time for this car. But that's all the definitive information I could really get on this, unfortunately. So I'd like to reach out to you guys and ask you if you know anything more about this car beyond what Craig Limmerman has released on his website or in his book, which are usually my main sources of information for these videos. And also, I want to ask you guys a question. A lot of cars in the Fast and the Furious films aren't depicted on screen with accurate engine sounds. Sometimes the sound teams will use sounds from completely different cars. How do you feel about this? For instance, do you think the sound team made the right call to use a single turbo 2JZ sound for Dom's RX-7? I'm trying to look at it from a car enthusiast perspective, but also a filmmaker's perspective, so I'm still not 100% sure yet. I know it's cheesy, but my favorite part of making these videos is talking to you guys in the comments, hearing what you have to say, having discussions, or learning more from what you guys know. Whether the information is coming from me or you guys, I want to create a positive environment of learning and entertainment. But anyways, next week I'm going to start looking at cars from the third installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise. These cars are some of the most requested cars I've had, so I'm still working on researching them even now, because I want to get this right. This video you're watching right now is part of a series I do called Car Topics Explained. I've done episodes about several movie cars, a famous BMW race car, rare versions of R34 GTRs, and the legal ways you can import R34 GTRs into the US before they turn 25. Some topics are chosen by me, but I've gotten lots of requests for videos such as this one, and I love it when you guys give me suggestions, so keep it coming. Beyond Car Topics Explained, I do vlogs, driving POV videos, I have videos about modifying my cars, I do car reviews, and gaming or streaming. If any of that sounds cool to you, then have a peruse through my channel, and maybe, if you're cool, subscribe and ding the bell. But most importantly, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Keep it fast, keep it furious, but most importantly, stay crazy.